go ahead and get ready to sew these. And what I want to do here is, these were lined up like this, and when I flip them over to sew, this side point or shoulder of my point here gets lined up right on the corner of the background right there, okay? And then I line up my pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and just sew my 1/4 inch seam all the way down to the bottom there. Once I've gotten that sewn, then I want to go ahead and press that seam open. So I'll do that real quick here. I give the top a quick press. I open this up with my finger, and then I just press like this. Okay, when you get to the end, you will be really glad that most of your seams are pressed open. You don't get a big lump that way. Okay, so now I'm ready to go. I put that back where it goes. And remember, seam 2 is right here. So I'm going to take those 2 pieces, and I'm going to line this one up. And this is the beauty of angle play, and that's the theory we used with these, is everything lines up nice and straight like this. And I can even see down here, this fits perfectly. Now this is where I make a little mark in my, and you can use any kind of pen that you want. I've got a white one here, I think. That should work. Oh, it's light there, I can use black. So I'm going to feel in here, and I can feel my ditch or my seam line right there. Okay, right there. And so I'm gonna make a line. Okay, this is in your seam allowance on the back. It's not gonna show. And now I'm going to sew right up to that line, and I'm going to stop either exactly on the line if I'm lucky. If I can't make that, I'm gonna go slightly past it. You don't wanna stop short. You'll end up with a hole. You wanna either get right on it or just a little bit past it. So I bring my fabric over. Oops, I gotta line it up again because I dropped it. I've already got my line right on my seam. And I go ahead and start sewing that. And you can see in there, I'm getting closer, I'm slow way down, and I'm gonna bring my needle down, and I'm really lucky. My needle ended up right in the line, so it's gonna be right there in the seam. If it wasn't, I'd go just a little bit past it. Oops, I do want that up. So then what I'm going to do is pick up my top piece, grab my bottom piece, and I'm going to swing them opposite directions because I need these 2 sides to sew together. Grab your fabric back here and just flatten it out. Run your finger here so that you're going to get a nice flat fold there. And I just pull this fabric over and I line it up here. Okay? And then I start sewing my 1/4 inch seam again. Take it all the way down. And I've got my Y seam. Now, what I want to do at this point, and your Y seam mine looks like it might have a little wrinkle there. It doesn't. But is to just, you can just do it with your hand even, or you can press it gently with the iron to get it open, but don't ream on it on this side. You want to get over here, and we're again going to press that seam open. So just bring it on up here. It folds over kind of naturally when you get up to the bend, or it does when I'm not filming it. There we go. And go ahead and let it fall into place and press it nice and flat. And then you can turn it over and you've got a nice Y seam going right there. Okay, then I'm going to come over, and the next seam is these 2 pieces. So when I go to sew these together, this point up here again is going to line up right with that point that's kind of underneath there. That's why I haven't been trimming my points yet. I will later, but I can see right where that point should be. Do you see how they matched up like that? And then I can just bring this down. Lots of times at this point, I'll put a clip there or a pin, or if I feel like I can hold it, I just do that. But you want them to get it nice and even. And then I'm going to sew that 1/4 inch seam again. Okay, and there I go. So I'm going to, again, just give it a quick press on this side, flip it over, and I'm going to press my seam open, keeping those other ones open. I'm getting a nice flat back here on my star. Okay, then I can flip it open and make sure I've got the top all nice and flat too. Okay. Put it back here where it goes so I get the right piece. And our instructions say to find them. So I'm sewing this way, and so I've done 1, 2, 3, and this is piece number 4. So again, that's just a nice straight seam. And what I want to do on that is, again, this point on the shoulder here, I'm going to line it right up to this point right here. Bring it nice and straight down. Don't worry about what's happening down here. Your seam allowance is all built in for you. As long as that shoulder is lined up at the top, it's going to come out good. Make sure all my seams are flat down here the way I want them. Nothing's flipped over. Okay, see how that comes out nice down there? So I'm going to press this one. And when I turn it over, I can see that if I press this open, I'm actually going to end up with a big lump over here. So this seam, I'm going to go ahead and leave over to the side like that. It kind of becomes natural as you're going. You'll see that some seams lay better open, but this one, and there's one on the other side that just lays better flat, I mean to the side. So we go back over here. I think I'll get rid of some threads now. I don't do too much trimming on this as I go. This is my next piece, and I'm going to be doing another turn or Y seam. So I'm going to, again, line this up at the top edge up here. That's actually a little bit of a dog ear sticking up right there, but it's right where I need to line that tip up. And it comes right down here. It's actually coming to just, I can actually feel it right there at a 1/4 inch past. I'm going to mark where the seam line is right there again. I can feel it. Put a nice long line in there so I can see it. Okay. And then I'm going to come on over here to my machine and sew my 1/4 inch. Again, we stop right on the line or just past it. Slowing down helps a lot. Okay, so this time, I don't know if you can see it, my needle stopped not quite a full stitch from that line. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go one more stitch, and it's just a little bit, actually I landed right on it. Okay, so that's really good. I got lucky there. A lot of times I end up just past the line, and that works fine. So again, I pick up the top layer and I scoot the bottom layer around, and I reach back here and I flatten out that fold. Now up here I can see that there. Oops, I let go. Kind of flipping up there. Okay, and I just kind of work it, reaching around the back, around the front to get it lined up. I line up my seam here, flatten everything down, and I sew that 1/4 inch seam to the bottom. Okay, I got a nice Y seam again there. And remember not to ream on it at this point. Just give it a real soft press. Make sure everything's open. And then when I flip it over, again, I'm going to be pressing my seam allowance open. And I'm gonna go right, I better go like this. I'm gonna go right around the corner. Okay, just lets me do that. Everything falls nicely into place. And then I can turn it over and make sure everything's nice and flat. Okay, got one more piece to put on that side. And again, I lay it down. I've got these dog ears up here, and I'm going to come right up here and line up to that little dog ear up there behind it. Now don't worry, we're going to trim those dog ears off in a minute, but for right now, they're very helpful. Okay, get my seams all lined up. Okay, get rid of some threads up here. And I'm going to press this one open. How nicely those are coming out. And this seam I want to be open. All right, now I have my first half all stitched together.